Hello and welcome to this lesson. The lesson, as you can read in the title, reflexive pronouns. But first, let's learn what do we mean by a pronoun. Pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun to avoid repetition when speaking or writing. For example, Alexander is American. Alexander is from New York. So here we have the repetition of Alexander. So we are going now to replace Alexander, the second word Alexander, with a pronoun to avoid repetition. So here we can say he is from New York. Other pronouns that you have already learned, we have I, me, he, she, it, you, they, etc. So let's go to this table. Personal pronouns, we have I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Object pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Possessive adjective that we learn together with the other pronouns, my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. Possessive pronouns, we have mine, yours, his, hers, ours, yours, theirs. But for reflexive pronouns, this is what we are going to know right now. What is a reflexive pronoun? So before I give a definition, let's look at these examples. Mary is teaching Joe to play the guitar. Second example, Mary is teaching herself to play the guitar. So what's the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence? For the first sentence, here we have Mary as subject and Joe as object. Here we have two different people, Mary and Joe. But in the second, here we have Mary and herself. Here we refer to the same person. So we are not going to repeat Mary is teaching Mary. We're going to use Mary is teaching herself. So herself here is a reflexive pronoun. Now another example. Be careful with the knife. You might cut yourself. So here the subject you and the object yourself. So you might cut you. So here we have again the same person. And here we use the reflexive pronoun yourself. Now from these two examples, what is a reflexive pronoun? So as we learned, a pronoun is a word that replaces another noun. But this time we learn more about this pronoun. This is reflexive. So reflexive pronouns are words ending in self or selves that are used when the subject and the object of a sentence are the same. As you can see here, Mary, herself. Here we have the subject and the object are the same. The same thing with this example. You, yourself. Subject and the object are the same. Now let's go back and complete the table with reflexive pronouns. Here we have myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. Now, when do we use the reflexive pronoun? We use reflexive pronoun, number one, as a direct object when the object is the same as the subject of the verb. For example, John killed himself with a gun. John killed himself. So here, himself is a reflexive pronoun object of the verb killed. John killed who? He killed Adam? Did he kill Tom? No, he killed himself. So himself, reflexive pronoun because it refers to the same person, John, and it is object here. Second example, you should prepare yourself for the test. Object here, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. So these are the most common verbs used with the reflexive pronouns. We have amuse, hurt, blame, introduce, cut, kill, drive, prepare, enjoy, satisfy, help, teach. For example, amuse, I amuse myself, you amuse yourself, etc. Hurt, I hurt myself, I blame myself, I introduce myself, can you introduce yourself, etc. Second use, we use the reflexive pronoun as an object of a preposition. Example, the children had to cook for themselves. Themselves is a reflexive pronoun, object of preposition for. She addressed the envelope to herself. He was feeling very sorry for himself. Number 3. It's very important. We use the reflexive pronoun for emphasis. What do you mean by emphasis? Emphasis means when we give importance. When we give important emphasis. And when the reflexive pronoun is used in the emphasis case, we can remove it. We can remove it. For example, the king himself gave her the medal. We can use the king gave her the medal, and the meaning stays clear, doesn't change the meaning. But when we add himself, here we want to give some emphasis, tashdid, or in Arabic we say ta'kid or tashdid. And herself opened the door, and opened the door. So when we add herself, it means that we give it importance. And not someone else. And it's not Mary, it's not John. And herself opened the door. I like the diamond itself. Number 4. We use the reflexive pronoun with the preposition by to show that someone did something alone. Example, I did the homework by myself. The door opened by itself. So when you have by plus reflexive pronoun, it means alone without any help. Now let's move to this short exercise. Fill in with the right reflexive pronoun. Joe has a high opinion of, here Joe, so himself. They prepared, equivalent is themselves for the trip. Don't hold back, help yourself. I put the blanket over myself. We bought ourselves a new car. The dog hurt itself. You should do yourself a favor, or yourselves if you are addressing a lot of people. The last thing to close this lesson is to pay attention to these things. So when you have these verbs, you should not use the reflexive pronouns. These verbs are wash, shave, dress. Example, he washed himself in cold water. So we don't use the reflexive pronoun, and we use it in this way. So if you use the reflexive pronoun, it's not correct. Mary dressed herself and got ready for the party. Dressed. We don't use dressed plus reflexive pronoun. Last example, he shaved himself before going out in the evening. So he shaved before going out in the evening. So these verbs don't have the reflexive pronouns. I guess that's it. Please, if you have any questions, write me in the comment box, and if you like the video, give it a thumb and subscribe if you're not. Thank you. Bye bye.